Saudi prosecutor seeks maximum jail sentence for women's rights activists in Saudi Arabia. The state prosecutor's office in Saudi Arabia's notorious terrorism court, again, coded language, notorious terrorism court is seeking the maximum jail sentence for women's rights activist Loujain al-Hathloul, meaning that the campaigner could face 20 years behind bars. Hathloul, 31, is one of Saudi Arabia's most famous human rights activists and is renowned for her activism, which led to securing Saudi women's right to drive and her campaigns to end the male guardianship system. The final verdict in her case is expected to be announced next week. Quote, they say she is a terrorist. In reality, she is a humanitarian, an activist, and a woman who simply wants a better, fairer word, said al-Hathloul's sister, Lina.
Correct me if I'm wrong. They arrested her for fighting for women. Well, not officially, they lie about it. But they arrested her for fighting for women to be able to drive just a few months after legalizing woman driving, right? It was very close. I don't know if it was her or it was another person that was. So wait,
no,
they
arrested her before,
just a few months before.
Yeah,
just
and then the
2 months before.
Then the order came down from above, which was sending the message. Well, people who analyze this say that is sending the message that you can't campaign. These changes are not allowed to come from the bottom up. They're coming top down, so that essentially they can claim credit for it.
Rivka, that's not the real Matt Delante in the live chat, by the way. Don't fall for it. It's a troll account. But okay, so
that's not the real who?
Oh, Matt Delante in the live chat.
Trying
to talk to you. It's not the real one. Yeah, no, it's not the real one. But okay, so what was I saying? Yeah, so the message is, don't step out of line. We'll do this in our way. Go on.
I have it exactly what you were talking about. The timeline. She was kidnapped and arrested along with several other activists in May of 2018, just before the law on women driving was changed, in what was interpreted as a message from the Saudi leadership that reform in the ultra-conservative kingdom can only come from the top down.
Yeah.
Since then, relatives have said that she has been sexually assaulted, tortured with beatings and electric shocks, held incommunicado for long periods of time. She's also attempted or undergone several hunger strikes and attempts that have also led the UN Women's Rights Committee to express alarm about her failing health.
Right. So when driving became legal in Saudi Arabia, a lot of people were celebrating it. And I was like furious of how people are falling for this sham, right? I was like, they're basically committing more human rights abuses in the background, but they were feeding media what they knew is going to attract them the most. They have a whole bunch of these. Here's a tip on how to be an effective dictator, okay? Just from the very first day, take everyone's rights away on everything, and then every time you want to commit like a major human rights violation that is about like behind the scenes, just give very close to when you're doing that, just give one of the freedoms away to people, something that is not going to challenge your authority, something that is never going to put you in any risk, right? So just take away the right to watch movies, right to wear whatever they want, right to drive, right to ride a bicycle, just take all of that away. And then on the day that you want to, I don't know, like make every single general that has stood against you disappear, just be like, oh, women can ride bicycles now. And then if you want to like execute the princes, be like, oh, like women can drive now, women can go to sports stadiums. It's just so effective, and the media just eats it up, like, oh my god, progress, women can drive now, at the same time that every single major activist in Saudi Arabia that was fighting, like, they are now paying the price, years in prison and torture for something that they were fighting for that is legal now in Saudi Arabia. Legal now in Saudi Arabia. Like, this is what they wanted, and you're still punishing them for something that you legalized because they didn't do it on your terms. They're like, you shut the hell up. You don't get to be a human rights activist. We give you what we give you when we think the time is right. This is why Saudi Arabia and Iran's government and Saudi Arabia's government should never be congratulated for any of these, okay? Any of these. Iran's government is trying to pull the same trick, right? They every time they feel under pressure, they're like, which one of these things we could give away? And usually the most meaningless, symbolic ones. But go on. Rivka,
well, I
Susanna
mean, yeah, the illusion of reform is just such a sham.
Right.
And Trells is saying, especially woke American media, LOL, they deep throat that crap.
Right.
I wanted to give a little bit more context. So we covered this last week, or no, maybe 2 weeks ago. She has been moved from a regular, well, not regular court. She's being tried as a terrorist. She's being tried under charges of, where did it go? Destabilizing national security and working with foreign entities, one of which was the UN.
But the foreign entities thing is always if you ever notice, also, similar to what Armin was saying about Iran, that's always seems to be the charge, that somehow you're spying, or you're working with foreign governments, or you're conspiring with foreign governments, because it's, also real easy to say, well, we can't tell you exactly what it is because it's a matter of national security. Those are just always the charge. But I wanted to say what you were saying about, charging her, even though these things are now legal. It definitely sends a message that you can't advocate for yourself. You cannot, as a citizen, demand anything. All demands have to be silent. The only demands that can be made are by the government upon you as a citizen. A citizen can't demand anything of the government. The government dictates what they will and will not allow you to do. And that's a demand they are making on you, to be silent. It doesn't work the other way.
It's a little bit different between Iran and Saudi. I think Iran's favorite go-to allegation when they don't have anything is spying, and Saudi Arabian is usually like stability or something like that. But yeah, I can't wait for the Saudi government to topple one day. Guys, green energy, please, all the way. Okay, this is why I'm telling you that green energy, like alternative sources of energy, is a security issue, not just like a clean air issue. Okay, both Iran's government and Saudi's government will topple if oil prices keep plummeting and plummet even more. Okay, so this is like really will remove a lot of source of misery, not just of Saudi Arabia and Iran itself, will free the people from Saudi Arabia and Iran, but these countries are the main exporters, are some of the worst ideas on the planet that cause a lot of harm and misery across the world. So the faster they lose their funding from oil coming out of the ground, the sooner it's going to be better. We're going to get to a better world.
Bring on the nuclear. I am
the
ready.
The only thing that bothers me about those scenarios is often governments or entities that are propped up on one specific thing have just this inability, because of their own confirmation bias, or what Buckminster Fuller called the 40-year horizon, to look beyond their own lifetime to plan for anything. So when the shit does hit the fan, it becomes really bad for the average people sometimes, in that period where things are trying to right themselves into another type of government, or another economy, or another way of financing the country. So that's the thing that scares me, is that in between period when things are sort of out of sorts, between when things fall and when they come back around in a different manifestation, because people really do have an inability oftentimes to think about what happens after their own specific lifetime, or their own form of government, or what could happen in the future, always seeing themselves as on an upward trajectory.
Yeah, there's one last quote I wanted to read from this article. And so yeah, the verdict is supposed to come out next week, so we should be hearing soon if she's going to be imprisoned for 20 years for something that the Saudi regime is now using as one of their biggest pieces of reformist marketing. Quote, a regime that sees women's activism as terrorism is deeply broken. There is no moral or legal case for activists' continued imprisonment, and their prolonged incarceration is not even in the narrow interests of the Saudi regime, said Lucy Ray, a spokesperson for the human rights advocacy body Grant Liberty, which campaigns on behalf of Saudi prisoners of conscience. Quote, Saudi Arabia will never rehabilitate its reputation while it continues to imprison and torture those who campaign for basic freedoms, end quote.
We should explain every segment why we say terrorist instead of the word, because we chop these into pieces. So we can't say the actual word because YouTube and Twitch might be sensitive. So that's why they deprioritize the videos who use these keywords. That's why we don't say them.
Yeah, so to people watching live, you're going to have to hear it a couple of times.
Yeah.
Sorry, not sorry.
And tell your friends so they know.
Yeah. We should have like a, we should have like a, I don't know, like put something over here that just has all the code words. Like
we've been saying that we're going to write our lexicon
like
down.
A key, like
a legend. Yeah. Check the description for a legend.
And also subscribe to our newsletter, because if we get removed from all these platforms, at least we could reach out to you. And guys, by the way, if you subscribe to our newsletter, you get a free copy. Where's your copy, Susanna? Get it. We're doing promotion. You get a free. It's not even promotion. It's free. Okay, so if you subscribe to our newsletter, link in the description, you get a free copy of Why There's No God. Come on, like I'm handing it out for free. Okay, it's a bestseller on Amazon, and you get it for free. So subscribe to our newsletter, and you get a free copy of Why There's No God sent to you. Link in the description.